What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bricks and Toys. And in today's episode, we get to fix an RC car with actual parts. Man, this is a nice upgrade, everybody. You know what? Cheers to that. There is no sweeter relief to breaking your RC car and knowing that there is a place where you can get it fixed. In my last video, we just restored the 1990s Street Sprinter Camaro, and I discuss all about that and how I don't have availability for parts to fix that car because, well, for one, Radio Shack went bankrupt, toodaloo, and number two, that was like 25, 30 years ago. The parts that I have is all I can get, and I just checked last night on parts for that Camaro, and there is none. Not even the car that was $300 in Canada. Somebody actually paid $300 for that. I cannot believe it, but there's a market for everybody. When I sell things on eBay, I wish I could get that lucky, but I don't. So anyway, today we are fixing this vehicle. Now, I never clued you guys into what happened. Well, because you know what? It's better to get parts and make a video about fixing it. It's a little more interesting than explaining what happened without a resolution. Here's what happened. I was trying to climb some rocks, and I was in a gully here in my apartment complex, having a good old time. My daughter looked at me and she said, "Stop, there's a giant spider." And I looked up and I was about 4 inches face to face with a spider about the size of the palm of my hand. Big old gray bastard. And I was like, I hit the throttle and I crashed the car. I'm not an arachnophobe, but when spiders are big enough to take me for lunch, well, a part of me for lunch, yeah, no, I'm good, dog. You know, I just moved from the desert, and we're supposed to have some big old desert tarantulas out in Vegas. I noticed more big-ass spiders up here in Sac in this Mediterranean, whatever you want to call it, type climate, to where it's a little bit humid, lots of green trees. You walk around here, you see spider webs, and you know Charlotte is spinning her web somewhere at this particular moment. That is what led me to this. Now, I do have some interesting things to talk about ordering parts for the Omni-Terminator. This company is Arlo, something like that. It's a Chinese company. I think they have 2 or 3, maybe 4 specific RC cars that they sell at the moment. They're a very small company. I like the fact that they are a small company that makes a couple cars and makes parts for those cars, and not a company that makes 1 million cars and they don't carry the parts for. So when I was looking for parts, there was an Amazon store, which I discussed in my video, and that's why I bought the car. But then I also noticed that there's actually a website, and I went onto the website just looking to replace this one bit. And then that led me into, well, you know what? Before I just order a plastic replacement piece for this, let's check the instruction manual, which I have here. And in the instruction manual, we have a exploded diagram. And I noticed when this thing broke, I lost A, 1 screw, and B, a bushing for the spindle itself. And when I lost those 2 parts, my dumbass went outside and actually thought, you might be able to find them. No, you're not going to find these little tiny parts in rocks and grass and God knows where that they could have fallen out from. Just because of where you broke it does not mean that's where it officially came apart. You could have fractured it, drove it a little bit longer, and then it fell apart, and you don't know where that was. So that left me in a weird dilemma, because on Amazon, I noticed that the parts for this car were a few extra dollars more. Like, these spindles are about $20 on Amazon, but from the website directly, they're like $17. So that's $3 cheaper. And then I was looking for screws. These are considered to be button head type Allen screws, and Amazon did not have those. I was also looking for the shims, and I did find the shims, but on both Amazon and the parts website, these spindles, which are good on mine, these ones looked to be metal. So because I needed button head screws, shims, and the spindles, I decided to shy away from Amazon on buying these parts. I could have had them here a lot sooner and been out on the road, but I would have probably paid $60 to $70 for these parts with one big glaring issue. They didn't have these. So I went over to the manufacturer's website, found a whole kit of screws. There's enough screws in here to probably rebuild the entire truck of the button heads alone. I found the spindles, which had the bushings. Now, I did not have to buy the spindles just for the bushings. They made extra bushings. But the way that they photoshopped their pictures together, it looked like these were not plastic, but yet aluminum. The pictures looked identical to the spindles that I have here in my hand. And I was like, you know what? Let's do these parts in aluminum, do the spindles in aluminum, and, it'll be really strong. Well, I get the parts in. These are plastic, so I just ordered these as backup for the bushings. You know what? It happens. That's why I ordered from the website, is because of the uncertainty. Instead of taking an actual picture, it's like they Photoshop and digitally create what they're trying to sell you. Because, again, I bought things I didn't need to buy. Like when I bought the spindle kit, it showed these black things. They could have been screws, but they looked more like pins. And because of that, I bought the screws. You see what I'm getting here? This whole experience of buying parts was just it was a grab bag from China. And I found out that everything comes from China because, well, the car's from China, but also because the shipping was $7. The parts were about 20% less, and I did only pay $40 for these 3 bags of parts, which is not bad. I did have to wait a week just for things to show up and to realize I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. But there's no descriptions on the website of what these parts come with. The parts are digitally recreated, so you don't really know what exactly you're getting. That's how I got the parts. That's how the parts work on this. You're going to probably end up wanting to order from China versus Amazon because it's cheaper, and you're probably going to order more things than what you need because, well, you just can't tell what you're getting. It is literally a shot in the dark, but at least things are affordable. So with all of that, all I really needed was to order this for $17 and the bushings kit for maybe $5. So I probably would have spent $25, $30 from China, or maybe $40 from here in America if I would have known that. But I didn't, and I didn't want to chance it. I would rather wait and make sure I have everything I need to make a video for you guys and get this fixed versus not being able to do that. So without further ado, let's bring you guys in and let's get this thing put together. Put it together, and let's take it out and let's do some cool shots of me driving it. I haven't really showed a lot of what this vehicle can do, and hopefully my wife is nice enough to film those shots. So let's get to work. I have my schematic just to be safe. Let's take our body off. I don't have my pins put in because, well, it needs to be apart. I'm not going to take anything more apart than what you see. This is the old part that used to go, what I believe is right like that, and it broke. It has a bearing in here, it has a bearing in there. There's bushings that go up top, bushings that go up here too. We got to make sure we put all of this stuff back exactly like we took it out. I took this all apart because I wanted to make sure nothing else was broken while I was ordering parts from China. Nothing worse than ordering parts from China, just to realize you did not order everything. So we will be doing this side together. I'll do this side off camera. We don't need to watch it done twice. So the way I'm going to find out which part goes where is just pretty much by lining it up inside. That clearly lines up to where if I tried to do that with this one, this arm's a little bit higher. So clearly this is the way we want to go. Filling these out, I would say the aluminum's maybe a little bit lighter, it almost feels like. But it's hard to say with this plastic. We're going to save these plastic parts. Well, we're going to save this one for a memory and the other one for a spare. So to get our spindle in, what should we start with? Well, it says we should start with our axle. So let's lay out our parts. Let's make sure we have everything. So we have that part that goes in. Here's our 2 bearings that go in there. We're going to kind of lay it out the way it shows on the diagram here. We're going to cut out our parts as we need them. So this is why you want to use your schematic, but you also want to keep one side together to make sure. I have this extra washer, and I did not know where it was supposed to go until I looked at this side, and I saw I have one right here. So that just came apart when I took it apart. So I need to make sure I put this right there so I know what order to put it back in. Now let's verify the parts that I have. I have a tiny little screw, which I think is going to be for the steering knuckle. And then I have one of the spindle screws, which is one of the ones I lost, that I need to put back. And then I can go into my bag here, save these screws for a rainy day. I'm also going to save my spindles for a rainy day. Put those in my drawer. And let's find that missing screw. Now, before I settle on just having one screw out, let's verify that this screw will actually work with the spindle, or if I need all new screws. No. So the nylon screws that come with the car work in the aluminum. Let's verify that for the steering knuckle. Yes, it does too. Okay, perfect. So I want to start this off by sliding this back in for our all-wheel drive. And I guess we should press our bearings in. So the bearings should just press in with your finger, just like that. One goes out, one goes on the inside. I don't think the bearings are directional. Let's just hope that they fit, because this one's kind of getting weird. Yeah, the bearings fit just fine. Perfect. Cool beans. So our next step is going to be putting our bushings in. And it wants one bushing down and one bushing to go up. The one that we lost is the one here on the bottom, so we'll put the new part on the bottom. We're going to have to take out our axle. For how hard you got to press that in. That sure came out awfully easy. Then we have another one that goes right up there. Looks like it's going to stay. I don't know why they go in upside down, but the company knows more about what they're doing than I do. Oh, I also want to make sure I put the axle in accordance to the sway bar correctly. I expect this bushing to be a little bit more tricky. I should have put that one maybe on the bottom due to the fact that that one's had some use and it's a little worn down in comparison. But, you know, we're in it now. We're committed. Let's get this going. So I have things wanting to go every which way. So I'm going to try doing this a little bit different. I'm going to try putting it together somewhat. And hopefully I can talk it into going that way. Okay, so I actually just found something out. There's another rod, like what's on the other side, this little piece right here, in this part. And if this part, if it's sticking out of, this won't seat fully, and thus you cannot get this one together all the way. To be noted. I was like, why is this pin not going in? And I started inspecting my parts, and then I noticed it's not going in because, well, it's coming apart. Okay, so that's in. We're going to lock that pin in with this piece, just like that. Okay, so now we're all together. Let's take this bushing out and flip it around. We'll put the looser one on the bottom. I know if you hold the vehicle sideways, this will actually go a lot better, but I'm not doing that because I will scratch up my desk because I don't have tires. I could put a tire on the back. What good does that do me? So I actually had to press this one down. That's why it wasn't going in before. Guess it had a little bit of residual damage from what I did to it. Sorry, car. So now we're going to go in with the axle a third time, and we're going to fall out. Gosh dang it. So now we're going to do some special trickery here. We're going to put the bushing in. I'm going to put it in my Allen key, hold it sideways to wedge it in. With my other hand, I'm going to work in getting this axle into place. I'm looking at 3 different areas as I try to accomplish this goal. Make sure you don't put your steering screw in the wrong spot like I almost just did. Now the only thing I can recommend on this repair, and this is probably going to come back and bite me, is Loctite. I should be using Loctite. I'm not using Loctite at the moment, well, because I just don't have any. And there we have a completed control arm, everybody. So that's the new hotness. And that's the old. So this is obviously a cosmetic upgrade as well, and it's nice that the green matches all the extra little green things inside of it. So now let's cut to us tearing it up outside. Okay, everybody, we're gonna rip it up right here. Let's see if we can climb that wall. So it climbs curbs that are low. Everybody say thank you to Mrs. Bricks and Toys on the camera. While we show this thing tearing up some grass. Whoa. As you guys can see, this car is very rambunctious, but a load of fun. I also did an alignment while I was repairing it, so she drives a lot straighter. Who would think a Chinese RC car out of the box would actually have any issues at all? I'm upside down, I gotta go flip it. Let's just go to some sweet action shots right now of the car. Well, hopefully everybody, you guys got to see some really cool action shots. I just kind of broke this car a little bit more in ways that does not matter. When I was working on this car, I already noticed I bent the frame. The frame is kind of like coming down in the front, but this doesn't really upset the geometry of the vehicle too much. So I'm not going to really worry about fixing that until it's a complete necessity. We have already killed one whole battery in just 30 minutes. I do have a battery upgrade coming for this car very soon. After another run, the body's even more broken than it was before. Now we're starting to have a little bit of an issue of the little ties coming off. Let me get my battery unplugged here. Just going to take the battery out. You should let these batteries rest for I think it says 10 or 15 minutes. After you get done playing with them. Again, it is kind of hot, so I wouldn't really want to try charging this right after it gets that warm, because batteries get warm when you charge them. Doing my normal shakedown look, I said those screws are going to back out, and you know what, guys, they didn't. So I consider that very good, especially with how you guys seen how I drive this thing. I drive it pretty much balls out and like an ignoramus, which is how I roll. I'm trying to look at the vehicle because the back suspension is not coming up. So I need to see what's up with that. The front is doing pretty good. Just the back, when it comes back, it needs assistance. So I need to see what that is all about. But I will do that on my normal inspection. Maybe I just got to tighten it up, or I just need to see if I have bent something, or maybe I messed up the oil in these shocks already. Who knows, people? Looking at the back, there's not much left of this wheelie bar that they make you use. I guess they don't make you use it, but they say you should use it. It's almost to the point now where it's going to break something. So that's not good. So guys, I hope this has been a fun little video, a little tutorial on upgrading the front suspension components of your Omni-Terminator by Arlo. A little bit of an insider information of what it is to order on Amazon versus the website. Amazon's a little bit more because it's local and faster. The website's a little bit slower, but you can pay a single shipping fee for a lot of items to come to your door. And You do wait, but it's a lot cheaper. I did, like I say, I did buy the extra battery that is bigger. I am going to have to move this when I do that upgrade. But that's for another day. But I did get that particular battery pack, the new one, from Amazon, and I did pay like 10 or 15 bucks more for it. It's all good, everybody. I do not like how I only get 30 minutes out of this and I'm done. What if I'm not done in 30 minutes? What if I want to go tear up more stuff? That's what happens every single time I drive this car. The 5 times I've taken it out, maybe 6, I'm always left with, well, I still want to go fast. Like I didn't go fast enough already? Well, it is what it is, people. So with that, if you guys want to support the channel, there's 2 ways to do so. The first way is to hit the thank you button right down below. Anything you guys can donate helps the Lego all around me, not really the RC stuff. That's a little bit separate than that. As equally important, you guys can just hit that subscribe button and follow along with everything that we do. As always, like and share the video with your friends and drop your comments down below. Have you done these upgrades? What do you guys think about the performance of this? Do you guys so far think that this is a pretty interesting value for the money? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So on that, we're back to Lego content. I don't really have any RC content in the foreseeable future. So on that note, thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a good one.